When and how does child support stop? Okay. First, the when. There are four typical time frames when child support stops. Three of the time frames relate to your child and events in your child's life, and one relates more to your parenting time arrangement with the other parent. So, first, the three related to your child are basically ages and events, and those are your child turns 18, child turns 19, your child has graduated from high school. So one of those three is really the most common time when child support's going to stop. Okay. And don't need to really go into a lot of nuance on the difference between 18, 19 high school graduation. Um, Really, that's going to just be dictated by sort of is your son or daughter sort of a young member of their like high school class or an older member, because that's going to sort of say how old they are when they graduate high school. So that's going to dictate the stoppage, whether it's 18, 19, or high school graduation. But those are very common times when child support is stopped. The other thing to think about in terms of when child support might stop is simply a major change in parenting time. And the simple example would just be you, or I'm going to use myself as an example. I am the not, underline not, majority time parent. Maybe I'm seeing my child 2 days, 3 days out of every 14. And so therefore I'm paying child support. And now that changes. And now the mother of my child is now seeing our child every, 2 or 3 days out of every 14. And now I am the majority time parent. That would be a situation where I could get my child support obligation terminated because now, frankly, I have my child with me a lot more. I'm incurring a lot of expenses to support my child, and the mother, would likely have a child support obligation to me, and I certainly would not have a child support obligation to her any longer. Okay? So those are the four time frames and the four quote whens that child support would typically stop. Now, how does child support stop? Well, there are times, and I see this, but not that frequently, where um, simply you would put a date in your court order when child support gets set, and you would put a date at, for example, when your son turns 18. And then it would terminate automatically because on a certain date, you're going to have an order for child support that says on this date, it terminates. That happens sometimes. Now, what happens more frequently in terms of how child support terminates would be you would need to bring a petition to terminate child support. Um, the most common reason why you need to do that is a lot of employers will want sort of the protection or the certainty of a new, fresh court order that child support is terminated, and now they, as the employer, can stop withholding or garnishing your wages of that child support. Simply for the reason that employers or people paying wages to a person can actually get in trouble if they stop withholding child support improperly. So that is oftentimes driving the how, um, and the need for a petition is basically an employer may very much want an order terminating support. Okay. So I spoke about the how, I spoke about the when, and let me just add this little caveat. Plan ahead. Plan ahead because, like much of the court processes, this is actually a pretty easy thing to do terminating child support, but it's still something that's going to take 1, 2, or 3 court dates. And 1, 2, or 3 court dates typically is going to mean, oh, 2 to 6 months. So you don't want to be filing a petition to terminate child support, a week before your son's high school graduation. You want to be filing a petition to terminate child support 4 months before your son's high school graduation, so that in fact your payments stop around the time he is graduated, rather than paying an extra 3 to 6 months of child support. So that's the answer to when and how does child support stop.